Here on the top of the Schilthorn, looking out over maybe the most magnificent view in Europe. The area near Interlaken, Switzerland, also called the Berner Oberland, is renowned for tourism and natural beauty. Yet some of the most popular and best advertised places are not necessarily the most beautiful. You're looking here at the north face of Mount Eiger, taken from the village of Grindelwald, which is beautiful to be sure, but my family and I all agree unanimously it was not our favorite, most beautiful spot in the area. What you're looking at here is the Lauterbrunnen Valley, located just a few minutes away in the next canyon over. But this by far won our hearts as our favorite place and the best views in the area. Along with this beautiful Yosemite-like valley, you have a ride to the top of the Schilthorn. Now this is different from the top of Europe. It's not as popular, but between this valley and the ride to the top of the Schilthorn, where you can view Mount Eiger as well as the Jungfrau, this was far and away our favorite in the Interlaken area. Now, as we look at a view from the cable car ride, passing by this amazing waterfall, understand that this place is not undiscovered. This is not some hidden gem. There are still thousands, tens of thousands of tourists that come here, but it's not marketed or advertised quite the same as the top of Europe cable car ride, and it's just not as popular as Grindelwald. To get to the summit, it's not just one shot. There are a number of different cable car rides that you need to take, and the views just get better and better. You can choose to stop along the way, or as we did, we blitzed it all the way to the top and then slowly worked our way back down. While going up, we had a few questions, and the cable car operator was more than helpful to point out a few different things to us. Once you reach the top, there's a great viewing platform, and you can also walk around the building here and capture views in every direction. But the best view is looking directly east, where you see the three famous mountains, Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau. On the top of Europe Observatory, which is a little bit more popular, you obviously don't have that same view because you're on the mountain itself. Whereas from this perspective, you capture a great view of the north face of the Eiger. This observatory was featured in the James Bond movie On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which came out in 1969. As they were building the observatory, the folks that were funding and producing the movie helped finance the observatory, and so they could film it here. So this has been around a while, and my kids couldn't help but play a little James Bond and act out a few scenes.
I found you! Turn around! There! Oh, Jacob's getting away!
Now, it does take hours to come up here on the cable cars, and so pack a lunch or plan on eating at this place. The restaurant is a 360-degree observatory, and it spins. So I like these spinning observatories. Some of them are actually really good. Now, the food here I didn't think was that great, but it also wasn't that expensive either. I mean, it was certainly more than you'd pay down in the valley, but overall, the view here can't be beat. And if you add up what you're getting with the view, yeah, I can handle a mediocre James Bond themed hamburger. And as you can see, my son Ben, he had no problem wolfing down the spaghetti, looking over at the Eiger in the background as we spun around this place. Before you head down, check out the James Bond Museum. It's down on the lower floor here, but you can miss it if you're not paying attention. If you like James Bond at all, or even if you're just curious, this is actually really well done, and you'll want to spend at least 20 or 30 minutes here. They've got a lot of interactive stuff that features the movie when it came out. You also have a helicopter You can jump right in the cab, try to land the helicopter at the various different locations that you've just visited on the cable cars. If the helicopter doesn't wing you over, maybe you'll get a good laugh out of the face matching technology, which puts your face on the image of James Bond. On the way back down, we decided to actually do some of the activities that we skipped while we were blitzing to the top. Now, first up was this thrill walk. This is on the second to last stop before you get to the summit. It's called Berg. And this thrill walk is somewhat new. I don't think it's been here for very long. But you have this walkway that's bolted onto the face of this cliff. And it really gets your heart beating. It's a little bit nerve-wracking as you go around this corner and the wind starts picking up and howling right beside you. I wasn't afraid, and I don't think anybody was really afraid they were going to fall, but I was a little concerned that I could drop my phone or maybe have my sunglasses blown right off the top of my head. Just as you get used to it, they have some glass panels, and you've really got to watch yourself. Now, my youngest daughter, she's not afraid of anything, but you can see she kind of skirted around this before testing out the glass. And my son, who is a little bit afraid of heights, he was really timid. Even my wife was a little bit afraid to walk on this glass. You look down here, and it is a bit nerve-wracking, no question. Eventually, you get used to it, but certainly looking down this cliff, which is about 300 feet straight down, like I say, it does get your heart beating. There are a few little gimmicks. One is this chain link tunnel. It's kind of designed for kids. My kids loved it though. They've also got this high wire that you can walk out on and look down below. That's really fun. I think every one of us tried it. Now this is an out and back walkway, and so you go to the end of this walkway and you have to turn around and come back the way you came around. It doesn't loop. You got to go back. Either way, the views are great in any direction. Next stop as we head down the mountain was this place, the town of Mürren. And this is a quaint little town right on the hillside. Some people we know come here and stay for days on end. They have a store, they actually have a few restaurants. In our case, we just kind of lounged around and walked around the place for a little while. The kids found a chessboard, played a game of life-size chess, and then we started to plan a little hike that we would do after their game of chess. Mürren is perhaps best known as a jumping off point for a lot of different hiking trails. In our case, we head out to find a waterfall about a mile away down a little canyon. I gotta say, the views along the way were pretty amazing, and the weather for us was quite nice. It does rain here frequently, but it was fantastic for us. Warm weather, we were wearing shorts and t-shirts, and this was still mid-May. After about an hour, including a wrong turn, we found our waterfall, and we were excited to see that the trail went right underneath the falls itself. Soon enough, we made it down the trail, down the tram, and finally to the valley floor where we found our car. For most of us, this day exploring the Schilthorn and the Lauterbrunnen Valley was the highlight of our time in the Interlaken region. We all agreed this whole area is beautiful, but some places like Grindelwald, while beautiful, remind us of other places that we're familiar with. Maybe Alta, Utah, or Big Sky, Montana, even Lake Tahoe. However, the Lauterbrunnen Valley was a step above. In my opinion, a more rare natural beauty, maybe only comparable with a few places in the world, such as Milford Sound, New Zealand, maybe Yosemite National Park. So for our time and money, we agreed, come to the Lauterbrunnen Valley for the best views in all of Europe.